All right, we're going to get started. Can everybody hear me? We'll assume yes. So thanks to everyone for joining today to discuss some of the challenges, security concerns, and best practices for government agencies implementing cloud solutions. My name is Pete Stoneberg. I'm the Deputy CIO for Government at Right Now Technologies, and I'll apologize ahead of time. I've had a cold all day today, so I'll mute myself if I have to sneeze. It's great to be participating in the Cloud Slam 2011 and see organizations embracing this topic and really working to understand how we can utilize cloud technology to enhance the citizen experience and to improve the delivery of information to constituents. A little bit of background about Right Now. We're one of the fastest growing application companies in the world, providing our customers the ability to provide their citizens and consumers with the ability to get the information they need from the channel they prefer when they need it. Our cloud solution is based on our mission-critical cloud platform, leveraging the three experiences that allow complete multi-channel engagement with citizens and customers over the channel that best suits the citizens' needs. Each day, we're currently powering 8 million customer-grade interactions via the phone, web, chat, and email, and social networks. This is up a full million from this time last year, and we anticipate this only to accelerate, all delivered on a mission-critical platform with proven track record of reliability. Our Customer Experience Suite, Right Now CX, enables government agencies to deliver on the recent open government initiatives to achieve transparency, citizen participation, and collaboration. In fact, we successfully served the U.S. government for more than 10 years now, and nearly every U.S. cabinet-level agency, including the U.S. Army, U.S. Marine Corps, and U.S. Air Force. Members of the intelligence community and DoD rely on Right Now CX to deliver real-time information to their constituents, warfighters, and citizens. It's also important to note that Right Now is the government's leading provider of cloud, secure-based cloud, citizen-focused applications. In 2009, we launched 2 dedicated government cloud environments. One designed for federal civilian agencies, which meets FISMA, NIST 800.53 moderate compliance level, and is also HIPAA compliant. And we partnered with DISA to build a cloud platform that meets DoD Information Assurance Certification and Accreditation Process, or DICAP. We're very proud of this accomplishment with DISA and bringing the first customer experience cloud offering to the DoD. So why are we here today? We're going to spend some time talking about 4 major themes. Why is it more important than ever for government to transfer some services to the cloud? We're going to identify some best practices in government cloud adoption and work through how government agencies can address the challenge of cloud implementation and management. And finally, we'll discuss how agencies with the highest security requirements can turn to the cloud to improve citizen services. I can think of several reasons why it's become a high priority for the federal government, but the primary incentive has come in the form of a mandate handed down from the Obama administration. At Right Now, we found that providing an exceptional citizen experience is an impressive imperative for many government agencies, but for the federal government, this has become even more important due to these directives. And the first is the open government mandate. I'm sure many of you joining us today are keenly aware of the memorandum issued on January 21st, 2009, the Memorandum on Transparency and Open Government. In it, the President outlines the administration's commitment to creating an unprecedented level of openness in government. This direct mandates that the heads of executive departments and agencies work together to ensure the public trust and to establish a system of transparency, public participation, and collaboration. To deliver on the promise of open government and the administration's recently released 25-point implementation plan to reform federal IT management, we know that agencies must identify services to transfer to the cloud. The 25-point plan outlines a cloud-first policy which mandates that each agency identify 3 must-move IT services and move one of these services to the cloud within 12 months. The remaining services should transfer to the cloud within the next 18 months. This is a significant challenge given the government's hesitancy toward cloud computing. In addition to the mandates providing a motivation for cloud adoption, the cloud offers a variety of advantages when compared to an on-premise solution. We know that cloud computing solutions have the potential to reduce costs and streamline operations with rapid deployments and better allocation of IT funds and human capital resources. By leveraging the transformational and disruptive nature of cloud computing, we're really focused on the cloud computing goal of delivering on 4 key responsibilities of IT. First, to ensure that an enterprise solution is still available in the cloud for rapid and successful deployments. And second, a functional solution that actually drives real clear ROI and internal customer success. A comprehensive set of services that the IT organization can use to augment their already existing internal capabilities. And finally, 24/7 support for your mission-critical applications. We know that cloud computing solutions have the potential to reduce cost and streamline operations. I think it's important to note that according to the 2010 Open Government Research Report by Harris Interactive, 96% of citizens indicate that government could improve how they engage with the public. Interestingly, 34% suggested improvements could be made by increasing the presence in social networking sites like Facebook and Twitter. And another 32% recommended delivering tailored information via mobile devices. The reason for this is that 86% want to be able to connect with the government for services on their own time, not when government offices are open. Another recent survey by the Government Business Council, Citizens Engagement and Service in the Federal Space, found that even federal executives recognize citizens' frustration with government. In fact, nearly 60% of the government executives surveyed described citizens' attitude towards government as frustrated. The survey also reveals that federal executives see the gap between how transparent government currently is and how transparent it should be. Fortunately, coupling cloud solutions with web self-service applications is an effective means to simultaneously improve constituent service and reduce overall costs. With web self-service, constituents can find information they need on an agency website quickly without having to contact a live person. This leads me to some best practices in government cloud adoption. Right now, we can point to many positive examples of federal agencies that have implemented programs to meet the President's directive while simultaneously improving customer service. I apologize for that. U.S. Air Force Personnel Center is utilizing our DISA Cloud, mentioned earlier, to improve support services for 1.25 million U.S. Air Force military, civilian, and retired personnel worldwide. AFPC moved from an on-premise application to the cloud in an effort to maintain high-quality personnel services despite mandated resource reductions. They also needed to replace outmoded case management and knowledge management systems, manage feedback, and update content to ensure accuracy. By moving the agency's 21 personnel systems to a new web-based knowledge management service, AFPC was able to reduce its average customer inquiry times from 20 minutes to 2 minutes. Importantly, this raised customer satisfaction levels from poor to very good, made personnel services more efficient and responsive, and combined personnel service improvements with necessary cost reductions. Another encouraging illustration, the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, or CMS, who face a massive information delivery challenge on a daily basis. This agency must provide fast answers to more than 80 million beneficiaries, healthcare service providers, and CMS staff. It must keep that information accurate and up to date despite scale and complexity of government healthcare systems. In case, delivering on the Open Government Directive was a truly massive undertaking. To meet the challenge, CMS implemented a cloud-based citizen-centric solution that allows Medicare.gov to answer 99% of constituents' questions accurately. These examples illustrate several industry-leading best practices that other public sector organizations can utilize to improve citizen service while reducing operating costs. And the NASA Shared Services Center, Customer Contact Center, receives more than 7,000 inquiries a month based on full year 2010 stats. And by utilizing Right now, it's a cloud-based CX solution. Customer service representatives were able to manage that volume successfully, resolving more than 96% of the initial requests on the initial call. So how can your organization benefit from cloud services? Before entering into any cloud agreement, you should ask several questions. What is the agency problem that you're trying to solve? Or specifically determine the business problem that the solution will address. How will it do so? And what will the expected results be? Ensure that you clearly understand the benefit that any solution will deliver to the agency mission, and then ask the vendor to provide a business case that identifies and quantifies costs and benefits. Next, what is the risk profile for implementing a particular solution? Project and operational risk are important to any investment decision, and that applies to building, implementing, and operating IT systems and solutions. Make sure you ask your vendor to clearly identify what is required to move the solution to full operational capability. Can the vendor demonstrate successful and real-world deployments similar to your agency? Look for relevant examples of functional and ROI success and third-party confirmation through analyst and industry awards. Any vendor should be able to tell you how other organizations have used their solution to solve the same operational challenge you're trying to solve. And always ask for customer references. Does the vendor offer robust integration with other agency systems? There's really nothing you can do with on-premise software that you can't do with a cloud computing solution. We all run our systems in a data center, and the fact that it's in a remote location is not really unusual, whether it's on-premise or in the cloud. The potential gap is what integration services are available to you. Less mature providers may not have the opportunity to build these out more advanced integration capabilities. Ask how the vendor utilizes the new social media technology. Today, citizens are empowered in a variety of ways. Departments and agencies, citizens, employees, and other stakeholders expect to be engaged by a more open, transparent, and participatory government, and to have their choice of access options. Ask prospective vendors about how they address these new requirements. A presence on the social web and the ability to deliver services through mobile technology are critical to engaging with constituents and taking advantage of the power of these new technologies. Does the vendor have a comprehensive disaster recovery program? When it comes to DR, there are really three questions to ask. Do you have a disaster recovery plan? Do you test your disaster recovery plan? And does it really work? The rules of thumb here are the RPO, or Recovery Point Objective. In the case of a disaster, this should be real-time or near real-time. And the Recovery Time Objective, or RTO, can vary depending on the needs of the organization and the likelihood of an actual disaster occurring. Next, how does the vendor support agency learning and knowledge management? As you consider cloud-based solutions, you should address how various vendors help support agency learning and knowledge management. Ask each vendor how its respective solution assists the agency with capturing institutional knowledge, refining it into common approaches, and delivering complete, consistent, and concise information and guidance during customer interaction. Sorry about that. Does the solution provide transparent, real-time operational insight? Look for visibility into these services at a minimum. Monitoring and operational management, performance management, change management, capacity and license usage, problem reporting, and service level attainment. Keep in mind that you will not likely get approval rights into a cloud computing provider's change management or capacity management process, but they should be willing to provide visibility into these services. How does the solution support the Obama administration priorities? We've already discussed the 25-point plan and the cloud-first policy, but it's important to understand what these initiatives will shape the federal IT agenda going forward. You should ensure that vendor solutions address and are in appropriate alignment with the reform initiatives. Questions like, does the cloud-based solution offer multi-tenancy, and what is the approach used to achieve operational and cost efficiencies in the multi-tenant environment? Is your solution available in the government-wide marketplace? What is the process for acquiring the solution? And does it deliver acquisition efficiencies? Ask the vendor to describe the program management required to implement their solution. Is the implementation modular? Does the solution offer a framework of integration into other agency systems? And does the implementation environment provide transparency and visibility for project teams and agency executives? Can executive management measure the project health and status? Does the project environment signal and enable interventions as needed to keep implementations on schedule and on budget? And finally, and likely the most important question to ask, how does the vendor meet federal security standards? Getting answers to questions on the topic of security and compliance is a critical priority when evaluating SaaS vendors. You should only consider using a cloud vendor when the vendor has adopted a comprehensive and technically sound approach to security. Make an effort to map your needs for security controls such as accountability, privacy, confidentiality, integrity, and ability to their capabilities. Ask questions like, what are the vendor's capabilities and policies in the protection of your data, both physically and procedurally? How is the application itself protected, and how is the protection maintained over time? How does the vendor meet general and industry-specific security and compliance standards such as HIPAA, FISMA, NIST, and DICAP? How does the vendor meet any unique security requirements within your particular department or agency? And since we're talking about the topic of security, I'd like to give you a brief overview of our security policy in place at Right Now Technologies. To ensure your data is both secure and accessible, government cloud platforms must include several features, including, and these are the ones we have, a trusted security model, security measures that include network intrusion detection and 24/7 monitoring across all data centers. Security auditing, daily external vulnerability assessments, and at least quarterly third-party security assessment audits. And secure access methods for encrypted access for clients. Right now, we built a secure application management tool, HMS, that allows restricted access either by token or CAC with complete logging capabilities for all actions. Working with third-party data center providers who comply with security methods like all access point monitoring, man traps, biometric scanners at access points, and guards. We look at security in the face of these three pillars: reliability, scalability, and security, are all around a mission-critical operational support model. From a reliability perspective, when we talked about some of these already, disaster recovery, is there a plan? Data redundancy, is it available within the application itself? Is there a documented and practiced change management policy? Are there service level management practices in place? Is there an incident response policy? And is there operational visibility? And from a scalability perspective, we talk about multi-tenancy and multi-version to allow the organization to move when they're ready to move to a new version of software. Elastic capacity and monitoring redundancy, performance management, and a guaranteed SLA, all built upon the foundation of security with a corporate security officer and a dedicated security team. We talked about intrusion detection and security auditing and encrypted access and building monitoring. Built upon that is the frameworks that meet the compliance that we have: FISMA, NIST, DICAP, PCI. So cloud solutions must leverage open standards to enable rapid deployment. And is the cloud vendor easy to work with? And right now we call this easy to buy, or the cloud services agreement. In a nutshell, can you buy what you need, but not more than you need? Can you get a 3-year commitment on price for the software features and channels you intend to leverage to service your citizens and customers? Does the vendor provide an annual termination capability if you're not getting the value from the solution that you purchased? Can you buy capacity for the services you need to consume on an annual basis? Are there SLA credits when the vendor doesn't meet their SLAs? And can the vendor perform a pilot for you to test the solution before buying? In closing, it's important to note that web self-service applications and pilot programs are a good starting point to identify the best solutions for specific agency needs. Whether in the public or in the private sector, identifying the appropriate IT solutions is difficult, and for this reason, working with vendors that provide pilot programs is critical to the decision-making process. And one of the unique things about cloud computing is the ability to test a solution first before signing a contract. Cloud solutions provide the scalability that government agencies require to meet constituent needs, eliminating digital capacity limitation worries. By transitioning to the cloud, agencies tap into the infrastructure that is as flexible as their needs are varied. With that, I'd like to thank you for your time and attention, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you have. So the first question is, were there any additional challenges in trying to deploy the Right Now application in the DISA cloud? Yes, there were. As you can imagine, the DICAP standard is very stringent in terms of not only STIG requirements on the operating system and systems and network devices, but also from the application perspective. The great news is, as we went through this process, which took almost 2 years, we not only ended up with a model for our own implementation where we've adopted the same STIG standards across our infrastructure, but the application required very few changes in order to have it adopt with the additional DICAP standards as it had already gone through a CNA. So yes, there were some challenges, but they were not insurmountable, and we actually have a DISA cloud operating at this time. See, there is a question here. Is there a publicly available list of cloud solution providers who satisfy most of such requirements? I'm not aware of a list of providers, although I know that each cloud provider should have a list of the frameworks, the security frameworks that they comply with, whether that's CNA or PCI or NIST 853, either a low, moderate, or high rating. But I'm not aware of any document or any sort of global list that would provide that listing for you. There's another question here. Would U.S. government be open to share various data sets as part of a cloud program? I guess, are you asking if the U.S. government will be willing to select a single cloud program to offer, or what's the nature of the various data sets? Whoever asked that, if you could provide me a little clarity. Let's see, I'll type the answer out here. So whoever asked that question, can you provide me a little bit more detail? Oh, okay. So the question is, I guess my question is about public data sets like census and electoral. Since those data sets, especially census or electoral data, would include what would be considered PII data, it's not likely that the government will be willing to share those without going through some authentication mechanism as part of that particular government agency's program. So I don't think it's likely that they would share those particular. They may share the gross numbers, but they certainly wouldn't share details. There's another question. Did Right Now have to develop any special operational standards to run its application in the DISA cloud? We did have to modify our operational model somewhat because DISA manages the cloud, whereas we would manage our commercial clouds, PCI cloud, government cloud. So If you think about from an infrastructure perspective, DISA manages the actual hardware, and we manage the application. So it's been a partnership with secured personnel and where my folks have a security clearance in order to be able to operate in that particular model. But yes, we did have to make some changes to our operational standards. Are there any other questions? I'm just checking with the host to see. I haven't seen any other questions. Sorry about that. So there's another question. Do you think that cloud model will continue to grow in government and replace on-premise apps? So I don't think it will ever completely replace on-premise apps. There's certainly a place for a level of security that wouldn't actually comply or work with the cloud capabilities that we have today. But most of the applications that I've seen could actually be run in the cloud based on the security that we're able to get from a CNA or a DICAP perspective. So I think there will always be on-premise apps, but I think more and more there's a push to replace those on-premise apps with cloud apps wherever the data security can be maintained because of the economies of scale that we talked a little bit about, where there's a significant green advantage and there's a significant cost advantage to not having to spin up applications across several government agencies to perform the same task. Well, I don't see any more questions, so thank you all for your time. And It was my pleasure to be able to talk to you today about cloud computing, something we're very passionate about at Right Now Technologies. Thank you very much.